Massive thanks to the mad lads and ladies supporting the channel. The doggos say thanks. Hey everyone, it's time for some more Monster Hunter, and today I actually wanted to talk about something a little bit different. So I actually want to talk about how furries have literally saved my life, and I would most likely have bit the dust a long time ago without furries. And because of that, yeah, it's a bit of a weird story. So basically what happened was that from the time I was a wee lad at 18 years old, I unfortunately never really had my family there. Like, my family was never really there for me. And because of that, well, yeah, I'm sure you can imagine things have been quite rough for me. But when it comes to it, pretty much, oh, wow. I'm not sure what happened, but I remember Gypsaros's tell for his flashing being like that. I swear it was a lot more traditional, but I'm just gonna have to memorize that whenever he does. Okay, it's a bit of a new tell for Gypsaros. Anyway, from the time I was 18 years old, the first time I actually had a run-in with somebody like that, it was actually like I was saying, the reason why I know about, you know, the reason why so many of my friends are furries is because, like I said, I just randomly befriended a furry one day, and it kind of went on from there. But what happened was this guy was like, yeah, you can stay with me and my dad, because we were both on the younger side. I think he was like 19, I was 18, and we were just kind of like chatting about games and stuff. I actually introduced him to Gears of War, which I didn't really know about much. I just knew it existed because of Unreal Tournament 3, because it did have Unreal Tournament 3 going up on Xbox 360. However, when it comes to, you know, moving in with him, he actually lived on the other side of the country, and well, I was homeless, didn't really have anywhere else to go. So I pretty much used all the money I had at the time to move over there. Because I remember I had some money from when I was in the crash when I was 12, and I pretty much used all that money to move there. Unfortunately, his dad did eventually kick me out because I wasn't taking the initiative on doing chores. And with me being an 18-year-old kid, obviously, I wasn't exactly the best at taking the initiative. And even now, I'm not the best at taking the initiative. I kind of, like, if somebody wants me to do something, I'm just like, all right, tell me to do it. Otherwise, I'm worried I'm going to mess something up. Oh, wow, that's not good. But yeah, from there, whenever his dad kicked me out, there was another furry who, he didn't really take me in, but he kind of brought me over to a homeless shelter. Oh my god, Gypsaros, please. Dodge! Oh, that's not good. But yeah, somebody actually, another furry went and took me to the homeless shelter, and then a furry couple actually took me in from there. Wow, I did not mean to do that, but I guess I'll just wait down here for him. But yeah, a furry couple in Florida took me in. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay there long because they had some money troubles that were pretty pressing at the time. From there, a furry house, basically. Saker, where are you? Huh, guess I actually have to go up there. That's fine with me, though. I'm guessing it's a bug that my Saker isn't showing up right now. But anyway, when it comes to, you know, what happened before, there's a furry household. From there, I basically moved in with somebody who I'd known as a kid, because I moved to Alaska, and they're like, yeah, come over and work on the boats with me. Unfortunately, they got me there a little bit too late, because they actually paid for my plane ticket to get there. And after that, you know, things kind of fell apart between us. They were kind of going through a bit of they're having like a serious mental health crisis, and they ended up taking it out on me. So after that, another furry took me in. And from there, I actually moved in on my own. That's where I got my dogs. And then after that, before that, so it was so that was actually my first time in Alaska. For my first time in Alaska, like I was saying, oh, I should actually use an SOS flare because I don't have much time left. But after my first time in Alaska, I moved in with another furry who was kind of just an internet friend, but what happened, I'm just going to go full mask off. I think I was only like 19 at the time. I was still a kid at the time, but I had never really driven or had a car or anything like that. And I was driving my roommate's car because things were getting kind of tense, honestly. And I was like fearing for my safety. So what happened was, or you know, I was just worried he was about to kick me out. But what happened was I was leaving to actually move out, and he was like, hey, where are you going? And I just said, oh, to Walmart. And he said, all right, let's go there, because he didn't believe me. And yeah, like that sort of, I was just feeling really threatened. And what happened was I ended up accidentally crashing his car. And I'm not gonna lie, I just walked away. I actually walked away from it. Like, I fled. And, you know, thankfully he was there, so that kept me from getting in too much trouble, I guess. It kind of took the brunt of it. And I actually wound up leaving my Xbox One and my Xbox 360 and all my games there, and then wound up selling them. And then, you know, the guy told me about it, and I was like, yeah, I don't know what happened. I didn't say anything about, like, worrying about my safety or anything, or, like, worrying that he was about to kick me out, basically. I just said, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I was scared about getting in legal trouble, so that's why I fled. And I moved in, believe it or not, with another furry. And, oh my god, Gypsaros, please. Come on, dude, really? But, yeah, I moved in with another furry. And, he actually kicked me out because I kept forgetting to lock the door. Well, okay, when I say kept forgetting to lock the door, it was a total of 4 times in 3 months. And the first 3 times were in the first 2 months. So I'm sure, as you can imagine, I was quite frustrated with that. But it wasn't really set like, hey, if you forget to lock the door too much, I'm going to kick you out. And unfortunately, I'm not good at remembering things. So, yeah, fair enough. Even though I did feel quite upset about it, quite frustrated, because I was like, yeah, I'm trying my best. He did set that rule, and yeah, I got kicked out because of it. Also, wow, Gypsaros is really difficult here. Boom. But I can just do this. And because of that, well, I moved in with like a random stranger on Craigslist after that. And this guy wasn't a furry. He was just a random guy. It's actually hilarious because it was like one of those classic old men perverts where they're like, every single woman they see, they're like, hey, pretty lady. But it's like in a very endearing sort of way because he wasn't really pushy about it and he didn't like harass women. He was just like, hey, pretty lady. And then if they're like, you know, no, or the first time they basically just turned down, he was like, oh, okay. So, you know, it was endearing to me because, yeah, he wasn't like harassing people. He was just like approaching a lot of people. And I admired his spunk despite being a pervy old man. And after that, actually what wound up happening was I lost my job because they did a mass layoff and I got hit with one of those layoffs. Jesus Christ, Gypsaros is difficult when he's tempered. But I got hit by the mass layoff, which is quite unfortunate, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles, so I couldn't afford to keep paying rent there, so I wound up leaving, and oh, I can't even remember what happened after that. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, actually another furry took me in, but this guy was a little bit unhinged. He was like a friend of a friend, and he was on a lot of medication, and because of that, oh, that's the recovery ammo. And because of that, basically what happened was, one day I think one of his pills went missing and he accused me of taking it. And then he was like, hey, I'm actually about to get married, so I'm kicking you out. I was like, oh. So there was actually a company that I'd worked with before that I started working with again at the time. It was called Alorica. And the first time I worked there was in that furry household. And yeah, pretty much what happened was I was in a good spot. I actually trusted the company. I had like a good reputation with it. And, yeah, you know, it was pretty hard work being tech support and stuff, but it was bearable for me because, yeah, I was just doing something that I was able to handle pretty well. And after that, what happened was a couple of furry friends, they were like, yeah, so we don't want you being homeless, so we just bought a Greyhound ticket for you to come here and move in with us. And, oh my god, why does Gypsaros only attack me whenever he started me? Oh, okay, he didn't do it that time then. But, pretty much what they did was they're like, yeah, we bought you a Greyhound ticket and you're just going to move here whether you like it or not. And like, they didn't word it quite that way, but they're like, yeah, we just got you a Greyhound ticket anyway. And I was like, oh, well, you spent like $180 on me, so I guess I have to move there. But after I moved there, there was somebody who I was going to move in with. I don't think this guy was a furry, but he just kind of had a house, like a room open in New Mexico, and it was a really nice place. And honestly, I just kind of wanted to move somewhere where I could get a dog. And so he was like, yeah, that's fine. You can move in with me. And then, so, you know, I quit my job there and I spoke with my roommates and they said, yeah, we'd be able to handle it if you moved. So because of that, what happened was I did start to move there. Like, I actually went through everything. And then as I was taking the Greyhound to get there, he said, yeah, I actually changed my mind. So that put me in a really bad spot. This is where I reached out to my family again. And yeah, they said, yeah, there's not anything, we're just gonna let you die, or whatever. I literally said, yeah, I'm worried I'm about to die. And they're like, yeah, there's nothing we can do for you. So, that, you know, that's where all the animosity with my family comes from. That was like the really big turning point in my adult life where I was like, yeah, they just don't care. And they're literally just going to sit there and let me die. And believe it or not, I literally just complained about it to another, get this, furry friend. And you know what he did? He offered to take me in. Which, you know, yeah, he did. And because he took me in, I was able to kind of get a new lease on life. And, oh, whoops. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't the best sort of situation, but he was a decent guy. And I did stay there for about, I think it was 6 months or something like that. But I was like, yeah, give me 6 months to try to get my own place and like get an apartment or something. But obviously that didn't pan out because I'm in my current situation. And what I wound up doing is I wound up moving in with somebody else who I had known for a while, and they were in the Navy. And they're like, yeah, you can move here, because I was going to move there to try to be a cop. And they're like, yeah, you can move here and try to be a cop. Unfortunately, they had to get deployed, and because of that, I had to leave before I was actually able to go through that. I actually went through the whole testing process, and I failed, but I was going to try again and go from there, because I was really out of shape, honestly. And what happened after that is... I'm trying to remember. Oh, Gypsyros, why? No. There we go. But what happened after that was, I'm actually trying to remember. My memory's a little fuzzy. Oh, yeah. So, I moved in with that same guy who, you know, where I crashed their car. He actually let me move in again, and I got a tech support job. And I was like, okay, cool. Unfortunately, he actually wanted to kick me out because I annoyed him. Because, get this, I kept forgetting to lock the front door, so I guess fair enough, even though, you know, like, I was doing my best and I was getting better, but I kept forgetting to lock the front door, and also sometimes didn't do my dishes. Like, it wasn't super often, but sometimes I'd have, like, a bowl, and instead of washing it right away, like, every single time, I'd let a couple of bowls or plates or whatever pile up, and then I'd do them. So, sometimes I go a day or two without doing dishes, like, mom dishes, and that did annoy him, and fair enough on that, but he did not kick me out. Mostly just because I got on his nerves. Literally, he kicked me out because I got on his nerves too much. So, that was pretty unfortunate. After that, that's where I moved to Alaska the second time. But I was staying with a friend who was, you know, they're really nice guys, and just a couple of friends of mine, and yeah, obviously they were furries, and... what happened was that I was staying in their apartment building, and I was working at a McDonald's at the time, but I was working on, I wouldn't be able to afford it with the money I was making, a cheap little studio apartment or whatever, and because of that, I was just saving up to kind of move in there. Unfortunately, what was about to happen was the apartment building they were in was about to implement a policy where they're going to start, you know, having cameras on premises. So, obviously, for safety concerns, they wanted me to leave, and that was fair enough, because they didn't want to get kicked out, and I understood that. And I moved in with another guy, who was, at that point, I was actually doing well. I got me a nice job, I got my dogs, but when I got my dogs, at first he was like, yeah, you can get dogs, and I was like, big dogs? He was like, yeah, big dogs. And then I got my dogs, and then I brought him back, and as soon as I stepped through the door, he was like, yeah, actually, they're too big. So what I ended up doing was moving into a hotel, where across the street from where I worked, and literally for like 2 straight weeks, I actually walked from midnight to 7 or 8 a.m. 20 miles every single day, like every single work day for like 2 weeks for the training. And like there's a couple of times where my hair just froze, like literally my hair was frozen solid, because I'd have a shirt wrapped around my head, and my spittle, or not spittle, like the condensation from my breath would like freeze my hair, because it would get into the shirt and kind of soak it. But that was kind of a damned if you do, damned if you didn't type situation with the cold. So I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to leave it on, I guess. And because of that, you know, like I said, I was able to get the job, and I was doing well and stuff. And I was working through a staffing agency. And what happened after that was that, you know, the guy who's like, yeah, you got to get rid of your dogs, I just decided to move into a hotel across the street from where I worked. And actually, you know, like I said, I had my dogs at the time, and the hotel's nice enough to let me keep them. And it was an extended stay hotel, so it had me a little kitchenette and bathroom and everything. It was great. They even had a laundry, like a laundry site on, like a laundry unit on site, so that was really nice. But what happened after that was after about a year, and it was a good year, man. It was one of the better times of my adult life because nothing was really going on. I was just doing my job, coming back to my dogs, playing Final Fantasy 14. It was great. And what happened after that was they actually fired me, or they didn't fire me, they let me go as part of a mass layoff. Again, yeah, this happened again, because of the COVID checks and stuff. I think this is back in 2020. So because of the companies getting the tax breaks if they're under a certain amount of employees, yeah, what they did was I was actually doing work for Kroger as a tech support agent on like their printer, on like their Ricoh printers and stuff. And what happened was the company ended up letting me go as part of a mass layoff. And I was like, oh, did I do something wrong? Was there anything I did wrong? And I kid you not, literally what was said was, oh, we're just getting rid of a whole lot of people and you happen to be one of them. And there wasn't really any other job I could get at the time. After that, there was a pretty rough patch. I moved in with my aunt briefly. I should not have moved in with her. One of my dogs died, and it was one of the worst times of my life. After that, I moved in with another guy, just an old friend of mine who lived locally, because that was like my childhood home where my aunt was. And he was kind of somebody I knew locally, and I only talked with him briefly on Facebook like a few years before. And we hadn't talked in a few years, but yeah, he let me move in when he saw the situation I was in and like with my dogs and stuff. So when I was there, I, worked corrections and worked for, from corrections, I tried to join the Marines. I got into basic, but I wasn't physically in good enough shape, and I also had some mental stuff going on. So they let me go with the general discharge because I wasn't able to make it past the first month of basic. And they said, yeah, just come back with a waiver from a psych eval or something. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, bet. Then after that, oh man, I'm trying to remember what happened after that. After that, I moved in with, get this, a furry. And things went well. I worked with Amazon for delivery services. It was fine. It was a job that I thought was fine. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was enough. And while I was doing that, I was working on becoming a cop. And when I became a cop, or I was becoming a cop, I was in training. And basically what happened is during my time as a police trainee, I got into an argument with some of the people in class because I was told to get core fam shoes, which is a slang term for uniform shoes. But I got shoes that were listed as core fam shoes off of Amazon. And the instructor inspected me and didn't say anything. He said, are those core fam shoes? I said, yes, sir. And I was super confident. But unfortunately, they were not. But I did get in an argument with the class. Everybody got interviewed, went over it, and they're like, yeah, maybe don't do that. And then after that, we was in training. We was doing like some really intense physical stuff, and I cussed at one point to try to people are like, yeah, just blah, 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 curse word to like motivate themselves. I got in trouble for that. And then after that, somebody lied about me saying I would commit acts of violence in a building. And they just first of all, everything I said that they falsely reported me on, I said in front of the instructor regarding a certain event we were talking about, certain tragic events. And basically what I was complaining because the instructor chewed me out over asking a stupid question when I was just asking, can we like switch to less lethal options if we're in a situation where potentially kids could get hurt? And, basically like chewed me out and said no and put me down in front of the entire class. Obviously I was up in my feelings about it, so I complained about it to a coworker and, who was in the class with me while I said it. And then I complained about it and I was like, yeah, this is what I said, but I guess I'll do what the instructor said. And then I got fired. And because of that, I lost my job, I lost my home, I lost my car. And guess what? A furry helped me out. I wasn't able to move in with him because he had a cat, and my dogs don't like cats or other animals in general. And they also just, they can't have like big dogs where my friend lived. But then after that, I kind of got a little desperate to get off the streets, and I went to a part of the internet you should never really go to, and I was almost in a really bad, like potentially traumatizing spot. And this was like a year ago. But then there's a random guy, the guy I'm staying with now, who agreed to take me in. And this guy has just been super kind and patient with me. And I do need to leave soon. Like, I do get on his nerves. We don't really mesh well together. But I would take a bullet for this man. And I know he knows I'm trying my best. And that's just why I'm trying to be a content creator. I could go back to try to be a cop because I was only fired for a year because they said I was literally too much trouble. Like, in quotes, they said, oh, we're just too much trouble. And come back in a year. So I could go back there. Also, even before then, it was like 6 months after, I got here. I applied for the police department here, and I was going through the physical training, but I failed the vertical jump. But I decided I want to be a content creator because I'm a little mentally unstable. I'm a little mentally distressed. And I just struggle with a lot of my own mental and interpersonal problems. And until I can, like, heal and grow, I don't think it would be a good idea for me to be a police officer because I'm a little bit too empathetic, and I'd probably make rash decisions for the sake of saving people that could ultimately potentially get people hurt. And at the very least, get, like, my partners and myself hurt. And as much as I want to be a cop and, like, save people's lives and stop bad people and stuff, because that's just what I want to do. That's what fulfills me. Just being able to provide entertainment for people and kind of make their lives a little bit better and their days a little less shitty, that's also good enough for me as well for now. And maybe in 10 or 15 years, if I grow and then make a living out of this and then I just kind of fall off and I'm not really relevant anymore, then yeah, I'll probably try to be a cop again. Because there's a guy who's like 58 going through the police academy. And he quit, obviously, but he probably could have handled it. It just seemed like he quit because he just didn't want to deal with it. And yeah, but furries, and I guess scalies as well, some of these people are scalies, they saved my life. And that's why most of my friends are furries. I'm not really a furry myself, but I respect them a lot. A lot of furries are degenerates, and a lot of furries have serious mental health problems. Even some of the ones that saved my life. But at the same time, furries have consistently been one of the kindest, most welcoming communities I've ever been a part of. So, yeah, W furries. I hope furries are never, culturally made irrelevant or demonized. Because, yeah, some of them are perverts. Some of them are seriously, seriously messed up people. But that just goes with anybody. A lot of anime nerds are seriously messed up people. A lot of stream simps are seriously messed up people. Like that guy who lit that streamer's car on fire. Like, there's just a lot of messed up people in a lot of places. But furries as a whole have been like gym bros, almost. And it's like, you will not find nicer people, in my experience at least, anywhere. Because when I was homeless, I went to a church. I went to religion, Christianity, to try to save my life. And they left me out on the streets. They said, nope, because you got dogs. And then I turned to furries, and yeah, they saved my life. The guy I'm staying with right now isn't a furry, but is kind of in a similar area where society considers people like him undesirable, or at least they used to. They're kind of opening up more about it, but it's just, I would have been dead by now. Or at the very least, an extremely traumatized, deranged, probably evil person. I probably would have snapped a long time ago if it wasn't for the kindness of strangers, and specifically the kindness of furries. And to all furries out there, you're amazing people. It doesn't, like, I don't care as long as you're not, screwing the pooch, literally. I don't care unless you're doing that, in which case, get help. But yeah, furries are great. Furries are genuinely awesome people. And they also seem to be suspiciously wealthy for most of them, which is really weird. Like when I was living with those two guys, that furry couple who got me that Greyhound ticket, they were getting like plasma TVs and everything else. But that's probably because I was paying my share of rent and they were just using that money to get all this stuff. But yeah, I think that's everything. I just really wanted to talk about that because furries have saved my life more times than I can count. Like literally over a dozen different times furries have saved my life. But yeah, for Nyan, I'm assuming you're going to listen to this. Nyan, I know you like talking about how terrible my luck is. You don't know the half of it. Getting laid off or just getting in a bad situation and being forced to move because I either can't afford to be somewhere or I'll just be homeless somewhere or whatever else. I am best friends with Murphy. If anybody knows Murphy's Law, I am like best friends with Murphy. It's like, it's not even best friends. It's like an abusive relationship, and Murphy's the one abusing me. But yeah, I think that's everything. If you liked the video, leave a like on it. Subscribe if you want to send me up some more, and leave a comment down below on if you've had any positive experiences with furries, or I don't know, just about anything. Let's talk. I won't try to open up about any specifics or too much uncomfortable stuff in my life, but I just wanted to use this chance to kind of like introduce, yeah, a lot of bad stuff. Yeah, a lot of bad stuff has happened to me, but it's why I'm able to stay positive because I have survived based on the kindness of strangers, and honestly, mostly based on the kindness of furries. And I think that's honestly kind of hilarious. But yeah, that's it. If you want to support the future of the channel, check out my Patreon linked in the description below. And check out my Discord if you want to join a community of people who play Monster Hunter. And yeah, that's it. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye now.